Alright, so where did we left? Oh, 2 months ago, I began the 16th season of Night of Kings, my second season of that league that I participate, and I begin with round number 1 in Austria. It was a sprint round, and in qualifying for the sprint, it went decent, qualifying in 4th. Well, decent I shouldn't have said, instead I should have said a great qualifying, and on the sprint I was maintaining for most of the race behind Rocha, and it went pretty solid and stable, and finished in 4th in the sprint, which was a pretty good result for me. Then came qualifying for the race, and although it was a bit worse qualifying in 7th, race was a bit different. It was gonna be a rainy day, and it will be for the entirety of the race. Full wets, and I was hoping for not following it, and fortunately, after 36 laps of full rain and maybe a bit of drying up at the final laps, I maintained my calm and miraculously finished in 4th, making the best result that I have done in that league. Could have been the second best, but Monaco was a disqualification instead of a second place. Well, it was a pretty good result for me, and I was hoping for a decent race inside the area, which I haven't practiced anything of it, and the last time I have played that circuit was back in F1 23, so I wasn't expecting that much. I was expecting like to finish in 8th or something like that, and coincidentally that's the position I qualified for the race, and well, we had to move to another lobby because there was an issue. And speaking of issues, I had some because my game crashed, and that was during qualifying. But in the race it was going pretty stable. In the first few laps I was escalating until Toscano rear-ends me and damages my front wing and makes me lose like 20 seconds or something like that, but I wasn't that desperate after all, and I had to pit early for hards, but I managed to come back to 9th at the very few laps that the race was having left. And during these laps there was a safety car, and I boxed for mediums once again, and I was still in 8th, and I finished in that position, but then I got promoted to 5th position because I did not have any penalties while the others did have. Although I got demoted down to 6th position after a driver got some of their penalties removed, but still, it was a position that I wasn't expecting to finish, and it was unexpectedly well. From that moment, I was in 5th in the standings with 43 points, and in 4th was Sexified with 51 points, and Sebs was the one who was leading the standings with 91 points, winning all of the first 2 races. And Barreter was in 2nd with 78 points, and Rocha was in 3rd with 62 points. And meanwhile in the constructors, Williams was leading it by 117 points, and McLaren was in 2nd with 100 points. Meanwhile, my team Alpine was down in 5th with 56 points, with my teammate being, well, Zero Weeks. And although, yeah, he's still slow, but he isn't as low as Razgris. But still, he isn't much of a help. Unfortunately, this is where things start get south, and it is starting with round 3 in Azerbaijan, which I did not participate because I had tons of work to do. Well, that was schoolwork. And round 4 in Belgium, sprint round, and the sprint was going pretty well until the final lap, in which I was in 5th, and then I got the 3-second time penalty, and that's where it all went downhill and finished in 8th. And it got worse in the race because I made big mistakes, and despite rain coming, it did not help me that much. I got an incident with Rocha and finished in P11. Not a good race. Hopefully Singapore will be a better race, right? Right. Well, it didn't start well because I qualified in P13, and the race started on intermediates. It was raining a little bit, but then laps past the end, the rain was stopped, and that meant that we were going for hards. But I think I have boxed too early, because on the first laps I was sliding a little bit, although I was feeling that I boxed in time, but then I exited the corner and went too much to the right end. Yeah, that is such a weird way to DNF, and that was an unfortunate moment, and that was my first DNF of all of Night of Kings. It was such a disappointing moment. Well, I wanted to get a good race. I was a bit desperate, but well, maybe I will get that good race in Australia. Unfortunately, looks like I forgot to highlight it or download it. But the thing is that I have no footage of it, unfortunately. But I can tell you that it was the same case as Singapore, but in this time I did finish the race. But still, it was such a terrible performance for me. I boxed too early. In this time I was conscious that I boxed too early. I think it was for hards, and I spun and crashed into a wall, damaging my front wing, and that's how it all went to the abyss. And I think I finished in last, and if I didn't finish in last, I think I finished in the bottom 3. But the thing is that I think I even got lapped, and then I attempted to go for the fastest lap, in which I did manage to get the fastest lap. Still, it was such a terrible race, and I was getting tired of it. Let's look at the standings after the 6th round, which I dropped down to 10th with 64 points, and the last time I finished in the top 10 was back in round 2 in Saudi Arabia. And let's look at the top, which Bartero was leading it with 185 points. Rocha was in second with 151 points, and Sebs dropped down to third with 137 points. The last time he finished in the top 10 was in Baku with 4th position. Belgium and Singapore got the fastest lap, and in Australia looks like he got DNF. Although, yeah, it said it P20. Maybe he got DNF or maybe got disqualified. But let's look at the constructors, and we see that our team Alpine dropped down to 7th with 105 points. So we weren't doing a great job. Meanwhile, in the top, Red Bull was in first with 229 points, and McLaren was in second with 212. Williams was in third with 1 point at 200 points. So that means that they had 199 points. Hopefully, Monza will be a better race. And sure it was. However, it was only in terms of action. As in qualifying for the sprint, my teammate beat me and I qualified in P13, and at the start of the race it was on intermediates, and at turn 1 I got front wing damaged. Although I climbed up a few positions, but unfortunately I couldn't do that much, and well, it got worse as laps passed and dropped down all the way down to P16. And then in the qualifying for the real race, I qualified in P6, which was a good qualifying. But well, let's see how well do I do in race, which I was doing pretty well. And yeah, there were some safety cars here and there, and damn, like 15 laps to go or 10 laps to go. Oh, my teammate got a hectic Well, his reaction said a lot of things. That deployed one more safety car, which to my surprise, it was gonna be the last one for the race, and it was beginning to rain, and I had to box for inters. But then, like lap 24, I get crashed by the spinning car, and it was a high-speed crash, and miraculously I only had a minor damages to the front wing, but still was enough to destroy my whole race, and finished in P12. No, P11, but still, it could have been way better, but it was such a hectic race and lots of crashes. After the round, Fortito got banned from the league because he was one of the main causes from lots of the crashes that happened in round 7. And then we are on round 8 in Brazil, which is also sprint round. And on sprint it went pretty well. Like, I qualified in P8 but managed to get up to P3. So yeah, for the first time in all of the races that I have participated in Night of Kings, no matter if it was the normal race or sprint race, I end up in the podium and maintain my podium. And on this time I legit did that without any backtracking, something like that. It was legit and fair, and it was due to escalating and having some patience, and also taking attention from some people, well, bottling it. However, in the race, despite going pretty decently in the first few laps, it all went downhill when I went for a dive bomb into turn 1 and went horribly wrong. and then I rejoined and crashed into Toscano. Well, he crashed into me, and at first he was gonna report me, but he never did that thing. But still, I was thinking that I would get points deducted from that crash, even if it wasn't reported. But it was ruined. It was ruined, that sprint that I have done, that actually got front wing damaged from me. Well, unfortunately, it was a terrible race, and finished in P11, starting from P10. Well, at least I got my podium in the sprint. So, well, the only thing I had to do was to get prepared for round 9 in Spain, or that's what I thought it would happen, because the season got cut out abruptly. The league owner had some time issues and decided to cut that season, and it turned out to be the final race. And with that, I finished in P10 with 92 points, with the best result being at 4th. Well, if you only count the main races, but the best result was the podium sprint. But, well, fortunately I managed to score more points than last season, and Bartero won the championship with 265 points, so he won by a dominant manner, and Rocha finished runner-up with 214 points. Meanwhile, in the constructors, Alpine finished 6th with 148 points, and the winner was Red Bull with 345 points. The runner-up being McLaren with 304 points. And with that, it ends my adventure, or would better say the disventure, at Night of Kings, as I decided to not continue at season 17. So that's it, guys. I honestly did not want it to do like the resume from all of these 7 races that I participated in season 16 separately, because I have lots of races to do, and well, races to upload to YouTube and do these videos. Like, honestly, I was busy doing one big homework, and also they came some of our school events, and well, I was busy and couldn't upload any of these videos. But damn, I was such in huge debt, and I'm still in huge debt. Like, I owe you like 5 videos, but well, I am paying you that debt, and see you guys later. I won't take months. Alright, so goodbye.